Hello, I'm Scott Bokey here with Danny Blundell ahead of his Cage Warriors 186 fight against Rafael Aronov. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing good. And how has the training been for this upcoming fight?
Yeah, so far it's all going extremely well. To be fair, um, always intense and tiring every session. Sleeping well at night, that's for sure. But so far, preparation's gone to plan. Can't complain.
Exactly. And it's not just you that's preparing for your fight in your household. I saw that your kids are also got their fights booked in.
Yeah, so what it is, I've got three sons myself, and my middle son's also locked into a K1 bout. He fought recently as well. Unfortunately, he lost on a decision, but he showed good willing to get back in there straight away so quick. So yeah, the apple never falls too far from the tree, as they say.
And how proud must you be knowing that your sons have got taken an interest in your hobby and is going and invested in the sport as well?
Yeah, that's it. It's obviously it's rewarding and an extremely proud moment. Like I say, didn't get the decision, but just the grit that he showed to actually get out there and do it. His first fight was in front of about 300 people and stuff. So yeah, and it's one of those things. Obviously, I've only got a couple more years left of fighting potentially. So it's good to know that through my children, I'm going to be able to continue to be in and around the game.
Exactly. And how do you feel like Raphael is going to look into this fight?
I'm not too sure, to be fair. I've never come across Rafael before. I'm not one of these people that studies opponents
Yeah.
or massively follows the sport in general. To be fair, I always just like practicing, always like training, and obviously fighting myself. So to answer the question, I'm really not too sure. It's quite an open book, isn't it? How does somebody else take you? It's a very hard question to ask. To be fair, so hats off to you.
So do you kind of like leave that to your coaches to try and get the game plan working?
Yeah, this is exactly it. I've always been one of these people that I focus on what I've got to do
Yeah.
in terms of getting myself in the right place mentally and physically, and allow the people around me, like you say, coaches and cornermen, to then take the time to do the research. I just find if I watch it myself, I can overthink and
Yeah.
overanalyze. So I choose not to do that. But yeah, no. To answer the question, like I say, I do my own prep. I get myself mentally and physically there, and then on the night, that's when I expect or throughout the fight camp, I should say, that's when we implement what my trainers and cornermen have been looking into.
Exactly. And unfortunately, in your last fight, it didn't go your way. It was against the change of opponent. How does that affect your game? Being able to, you're obviously get preparing for that fight, and then suddenly it changes.
Yeah, obviously, but it's one of those things in this game or any combat sport. You've got to sort of be able to improvise.
Yeah,
Listen, the training's so intense that injuries are so full and frequent that you've got to be able to adapt to the scenario. Obviously, it's a bit of a throw off in terms of, I think I was supposed to be start fighting Adam. He's about 6'4", and then to fight Tarek, who's come up a weight. And hats off to Tarek, he won that fight. Fair play to him. But yeah, obviously it throws a spanner in the works. But ultimately, you know, if you're in the shape that you're in, there's no real excuses. It's something that. But again, that's the fight game. You've got to accept that these things happen, haven't you?
exactly. And it must be nice to say that you fought at the O2.
Yeah, 100%. Not just at the O2. It's a massive accomplishment in terms of cage, not only once but twice.
And
It's greatly appreciated. Obviously, the
yeah,
venue's stunning. To get on the promotion.
exactly. And Cage Warriors is renowned as being the biggest organization in Europe. So do you feel like being able to fight that, you are getting the toughest opponents that you can?
100%. There's no there's no easy route on a Cage Warriors promotion. Everywhere, every angle you turn to, there's elite level guys. Everyone, all of those that wear the belts go to the UFC. So that's just a standout shot. A standout of the level that it's at. And like I say, there is not a single easy fight within the Cage Warriors roster.
And especially in your division, there's just so many contenders. You have got that title fight coming in Dublin of Justin Burlinson. You then also have Sean Clancy Jr., who's headlining the Glasgow card. It just seems like your division is just full of killers. Is that how you like it? Being able to have these tough opponents each time?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think anyone takes up MMA and wants to have easy fights.
Yeah,
It's a tough, physical, hard sport. So if you're going in there expecting something easy, it's you're completely deluded. And then just to have the level of characters that you've just mentioned is obviously it's a tribute to the show itself. But also it gives you that, when you don't want to get up in the morning and do your runs and you have, you want one of those rest days, is your man going to be doing that? No, he's not. So it gives you that little spur and that drive on to go out and get it done, essentially.
exactly. And in this fight, you're going to have that home crowd behind you. Does that play a factor in the fight, or are you just locked in? You don't really hear the crowd till afterwards.
Yeah, so it's both, isn't it? It's both. When obviously the build-up's fantastic, I generally bring a decent crowd with me, 70 to 100 people. So it's always good in that sense in the lead up. But when you get to the venue, for me, it's all just noise, really. It goes. You sort of get tunnel vision effectively. Obviously, and there's hard points in the fight where your crowd do get behind you, and it does give you a temporary boost. But 9 times out of 10, yeah, you're so locked in and dialed in that it's just, it's blurry. It's over within an instant as well, to be fair. We fight for 15 minutes, and whilst you're doing them 15 minutes, it's the hardest thing in the world. And then after, it's like, well, Jesus, yes, it's just gone before you know it. It's one of those. And then obviously celebrating after with all your people, win or lose, is the cherry on the cake.
And do you have any plans so far to celebrate if you are able to get the victory?
No, to be fair, I'm undecided yet as to where we're going, what we do. Like I said, I do always bring a decent crowd. So win or lose, there will be an after party somewhere. I take it 100%, as the way it should be. But I do like to
Yeah,
reward myself after for my hard work, if that makes sense. I'm quite a sociable guy, so you do your 6 to 8 to 10 weeks sort of
yeah.
isolated training camp, and then you've got some time to make up for with your friends and family. So yeah, I like to make sure that regardless of result, I like to make sure that we seal the night off with a bang.
And how do you prefer the fights as a fighter personally? Because obviously the first round finish is what the fans are looking for. However, like you're saying, you go through those 6 to 8 weeks training camp. Do you like to showcase everything that you've been working on and go those extra rounds?
Yeah, 100%. It's I've had quite a few first round finishes. One, obviously, I lost in the first round. I've had a few wins in the first round. So obviously, if you get an opportunity, you take the win as soon as possible. However, it is a long time. It's that you're not out doing, socializing and so forth. You lock in for a long time, so you want to get the most out of it in terms of you want to showcase how you've come on, what you've been working on, and so forth. And then just for your own mentality, you want to know leading on to the next fight. If you've done 3 rounds, you want to know that you've got that in the tank. So I always liked, if it's great to get a finish, obviously, but I'd much rather be in a great fight for 15 minutes than winning the first round, if that makes sense. And I think that's what a lot of the crowd want to see. That's why people want to keep following you, because they know that you're going to be involved in a good fight.
And do you feel like another thing that brings people to the sport is the fact that you can, like you're saying, you can take the big fights and it doesn't really matter win or lose. It is just that learning curve, unlike in other sports like boxing.
Yeah, exactly. Boxing's very cutthroat, isn't it? And
Yeah.
with MMA, you seem to get another chance. Just because you've lost your O, it doesn't mean you're done. Whereas you find with a lot of other combat sports, I suppose boxing especially, a lot of those guys, they protect their O with their life, and then as soon as they lose it, you never hear about them again. But yeah, like you said, with MMA, as long as you're an interesting competitive fighter and you always come to fight, you've always got a chance.
And what's your opinion with obviously the only criticism that you could probably have with Cage Warriors is the fact they they kind of like they don't like promote their own fighters to the title slot. I know you do have Justin for the welterweight ones. However, like George Hardwick, he is fighting that guy who's coming from America, from LFA. And then you also had for the featherweight title, you had that Brazilian who came in. Do you feel like they probably need to get people from Cage Warriors into those title slots a bit more frequent than what they're doing? I know you have James Power in that lightweight division, for example.
Yeah, so I think they're just showing the quality of my phone might run out, so I do apologise. I can't find the charger. Sorry, could you? I've got sidetracks there where that's come up. So what was the question? Sorry.
So do you feel like they need to promote their own fighters a bit more?
I think they do, but I also think they're showcasing exactly how good the roster is by allowing other people in to fight. They're sort of not scared to put their champions up against other promotion fighters, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So in a way, I suppose it is nice for always home fighters to have the opportunity to go for titles, but at the same time, I think it's a credit to Cage Warriors for not being worried to offer other people fights, if that makes sense, title
yeah.
fights, because a lot of promotions do kind of shield it, you know. But like I say, it's just that it's a credit to Cage Warriors and the roster that they've built, you know.
And what brought you into the sport?
What brought me into it? To be fair, it's always something like I tried boxing, didn't really get on with it in terms of I started it a little bit too late, and MMA was reasonably infant when the time. But again, it helps. Like I say, I like to socialise. I like to go out and do everything like that. So for me, it was a way of just keeping on the straight and narrow and not getting in trouble and so forth, and just homing in on something. And obviously and that's the reason I started training. Then you start improving and you start upping your skill set, and then you start wanting to test yourself against other people of the same sort of standard.
Exactly. And I know come fight night, you've got the fight of the night written all over it. You'll be able to get in there and put on that show. Thank you for coming on today. It was fantastic. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, all the boys up at TSG Southend for helping me get through the camp so far, and Daniel Bazzotta for letting me train. Mike Ornerman and long-term friend Cole Bryan. And then I've got a few sponsors there. So my friends Lewis Damon and Charlie Kemp of Quadrant Electrical. My uncles Danny and David Blundell, first response site suppliers, and Jason Needham of CC Suppliers and Workwear. So I'd like to appreciate those guys for sticking in with the support, you know.
Exactly. And make sure you tune in. It's a definite fight you do not want to miss. Thank you.
100%.